Our next speaker is our ECE co-principal, Kate McAlister, and she's going to be talking about respectful ways to talk with young children.
Morning, everyone. Oh, thank you. So what I'm going to talk to today about is really comes down to the idea of well-being for children. We constantly are saying and speaking to our children, and it's really important that we think about the messages that we are sending children on a daily basis. We really truly believe that the way that we treat and speak to children has a huge impact on their well-being. 1 out of 6 people in Hong Kong are diagnosed with a mental health issue. And that is only the cases of people that are diagnosed. There's a big statistic that they think that it's a lot bigger amount of people, a lot more people than are actually diagnosed. So we need to be thinking about how we are supporting mental health and well-being from a very young age. And that comes down to the way that we view children, the way we talk to children, and the way we treat children. So Janet Lansbury is an expert in early childhood, and she talks a lot about respect and how we give respect to young children. So she has a quote that says, "In my world, there are no bad kids, just impressionable, conflicted young people wrestling with emotions and impulses, trying to communicate their feelings and needs the only way they know how." So it's about us changing our mindset about how we are viewing children. So what I want you to do right now is, can everyone stand up? And I want you to think in your head of one wonderful thing about your child. One wonderful. It cannot be that they're naughty. It has to be something positive, okay? So think of that one thing, and I want you to find a stranger, someone that you have not met yet. It cannot be your husband or wife, and turn to them and tell them one wonderful thing about your child. Go. All right, once you're done, you can please take a seat. So as you can hear, there's a lot of wonderful thing about the children that are yours, right? So this is hard to remember, especially with the tantrums and meltdown, these wonderful things. But it is important that we do talk about these things. A lot of the time we're just talking about when they're behaving in a way that we don't want them to behave. But it's really crucial that we remember all the wonderful and amazing things that your children are. So when we are communicating with children, we need to be communicating from a place of unconditional love. I have no doubt that all of you love your children unconditionally. But is that message communicated to them daily? Do they know that they have the unconditional love no matter what? And are we showing empathy through the way that we talk to children? And are we talking from a place of, I want to have a connection with you as a human being? If we show children from a young age that we want to connect with them, we want them to communicate with us, when they become teenagers, when they're in their 20s, when they're older, they're going to come to you to communicate. And I think that's one major goal that we all want as parents. So what is empathy? Because this is a question that we get from parents a lot is, I want my child to be respectful, I want my child to be empathetic. But are we being empathetic and respectful to those children? Because that's the best way that children learn these things, is by us role modeling that to them. So Brené Brown is a researcher, and she defines empathy as communicating the incredibly healing message of, you are not alone. Sometimes with discipline, it's very common to use things like, oh, I'm going to leave you if I'm going to go back to the Philippines, or I'm going to get on an airplane and go away from you if you keep on acting like this. That can be really damaging, because it's not saying that I'm here to support you. Really need to think about how our messages are showing that you are not alone, I am here to support you, even when it's frustrating. She also goes on to explain that empathy has 4 different messages that it's trying to communicate. So the first one is, empathy is to be able to see the world as others see it. So I need to be able to stand in the shoes of someone else. So I need to be able to stand in the shoes of the child. I also need to be non-judgmental. So typically that's when we start to say things like, you're bad or you're naughty. I'm making a judgment. So trying to eliminate that judgment. And then also to understand a person's feelings. And then also to connect to that feeling. So I might not be able to relate to the actual problem that's happening for that child, but I can relate to the feeling of feeling frustrated, right? I've felt frustrated before. I can understand your feeling. The other thing is that I mentioned before is to drive for connection. So Brené Brown goes on to explain that connection is the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive support and strength from their relationship. This is what we all want. We all want to have a strong sense of belonging. Belonging is the biggest gift that we can give children. If they feel like they have a sense of belonging, they're going to be more creative. They're going to be more confident. They're going to be able to explore new things because they know that they have someone there that is connected to them and truly values them. I see you, I hear you, and you are important to me. So what I want you to sort of think about in this moment is think about a time when you were really upset. As an adult, think about you're really upset, and your partner comes home, you're crying, and they go, "You're okay," and walks away. How do you feel? Probably more upset, right? They didn't even care that I was crying. They didn't even acknowledge that I was crying. I'm even more mad and upset. But what we want as adults is someone to come alongside us and say, I see you. I hear that you're really upset. And listen, what's going on? Talk to me. It's not that the other adult or your partner is going to fix the problem for you. But the fact is they're going to see you and hear you, and you know that they're there to support you. You might even say something like, I really don't know what to say right now, but what I need you to know is I'm here for you. Showing that connection is so valuable, and children are wanting the exact same thing. But that's hard to remember because we think of them a little bit as less when they're children, but they're really wanting someone to acknowledge what they're feeling. So this is acknowledging what their emotions are and what they might be feeling is one of the most powerful tools we can give in showing children empathy, respect, and connection. So you can say things like, you seem really sad right now. It's very simple. It might be hard at first, but it's a really simple way of showing them that you care. You seem upset because we have to leave the park. So this is an important one because we're still going to leave the park. Right? As Terrence talked about, the boundary is we're still going to go, but I'm acknowledging that you're still really upset about it, and this is still really hard. It doesn't mean I need to stay at the park longer. It just means that I'm acknowledging what might be happening for that child. Just saying something like, this is really frustrating. Or even acknowledging positive emotions. You seem so excited. It's difficult to be patient. You seem so happy to see grandma. A lot of the time when I ask parents what they want for their child, a lot of the time we say we want them to be happy. I'm going to tell you something right now. We cannot make children happy 100% of the time. One of the most beautiful things about being a human being is that we have emotions. So we need to be talking about them, and we need to be helping children to label them and understand them. I think a lot of us as kids were told, you're okay, don't talk about it, don't talk about sad emotions, don't talk about hard emotions. And then we have a harder time communicating that as we get older. But if we create children comfortable with their emotions and able to articulate what's going on, we're going to create a lot kinder world where we can communicate when we're frustrated, when we don't agree with someone. So this is the opposite of what I've been talking about with respect and connection and empathy, and that's shame. And shame is typically something that is used in discipline, but I would really like to encourage you to try to think about discipline in a different way. But Brené Brown also defines shame, and this is how she defines it. It's the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. I am mad, I am a mess. This focus on self, not the behavior, will result with the result that we feel alone. Shame is never known to lead us to positive change. So do you see what's happening here? It's all about them as a person, right? So it could be like, you are naughty, you are a bad girl, you are a problem maker. I'm attacking the person. And think about that as an adult, right? I could say one of the parents is a lawyer. You're a bad lawyer. I'm attacking them. I'm not helping them solve the problem. I could say, oh, okay, there's something that I need to help you work on with this in terms of this project. Could we fix this? So giving them things what they need to fix rather than labeling them as bad or naughty. So focusing on the behavior. Focusing on the behavior rather than the child. So here's an example. I won't let you hit your brother. That hurts him. So instead of just saying when your child hits someone, rather than just saying, you're naughty, you're bad, I'm actually helping them to understand what the social rule is here. The social rule here is, I won't let you hurt anyone. I'm going to protect your brother. Another one is, I don't feel safe with you climbing on the table. Either you can climb down or I will help you. So once again, if a child climbs onto a table, we could just say, you're naughty, you're bad, and then take them off the table. It's a lot clearer to the child if you explain to them why. I don't feel safe with you on the table. And then you're giving them two choices. You can climb down, or I will help you down. Another example, when you throw your food, it shows me you are all done eating. So I'm clearly saying, when you throw your food, you're showing me that this meal is over. This is not something that I do want you to play with. Is that clear? So Janet Lansbury asks this question of, or has a statement that says, consider my point of view and acknowledge it as much as possible, even if it seems ridiculous and wrong. There are no wrong desires or feelings, just wrong ways of acting on them, right? I need to know that it's okay to have these feelings and that you'll understand and keep on loving me. So please allow children to have those emotions. And then I just want to leave my presentation with just like one wish, and that wish is really that connecting our language to how we view the child because I really honestly believe that's going to make a kinder world, and a world where we can talk and communicate with each other. We can have conflicts, but in a respectful way, and we can give the children the message of they belong in this world, they belong to our family, and they belong to our community with so much love. Thank you very much.